Okay, I'm going to be mixing skin tones, and I'm going to start off with a pale skin tone that I will use in my portrait. Here are the colours, so it's really, really basic. The main basic colours I'm going to start with are white, red, and primary yellow. So that's cadmium yellow. And then later when I'm doing the darker skin tones, I can add in burnt umber and Payne's grey. Yellow ochre as well is a really good colour to use. So you can choose between, depending on the skin tone. There is no exact formula for any skin tone. All skin tones are very, very different. There can be subtle differences like more reds, more yellows, more blues in the skin tone. So you can choose between cadmium and yellow ochre, I would say. So I started off with a very thin wash there. So similar to as I've done before with the tea and butter chart, I'm doing the same thing here with the skin colour, except that the difference being that I am, rather than I'm trying to get the same colour each time. So though certain tones that I'm putting down are thinner, so that obviously the tea wash and the coffee wash, the milk wash are quite thin, but it's hard to see on that because each time I'm putting in paint, I'm trying to get the similar sort of tone. It doesn't work out exactly like that, but I'm just putting in it was a bit too much of a difference between the first wash and the second wash. So that's again how you might build layers of a face. There, I will be, in my example of a portrait painting, I will be building the layers in a different way. I'm actually going to layer down a really thin blue to start. So just being more experimental. But if you wanted to do it more traditionally, then you just put down different thinnesses and thicknesses of skin color, whatever skin color you choose. So now I'm moving on to a darker skin tone, much more olive skin tone. So I'm adding in, you can add in even primary blue. So really you're looking at using all the primaries here. You know the way you mix red, blue and yellow to create a brown, and you would mix red, yellow and blue to mix a black as well if you're mixing a black from primaries, but you would ordinarily use more blue for a blacker tone. So that's basically what you're doing here. I'm using, let's say, the base of that lighter peachy skin tone to mix up these darker skin tones and testing it on the page before I put it down. So I'm using Payne's grey as well, particularly for the darker skin tones. So if you were painting a dark skin tone, you don't have to use the white in it. You could just use the burnt umber and Payne's grey, and then the skin tone you're doing might be a little bit more blue or a bit more red as well. Some of these darker skin tones that I mix up, one or two of them could work as in the same face. So one could be the shadow in the face and one could be the highlight or the more medium skin tone. I think traditionally there's cooler colours put into shadows in painting. So if you wanted to be very traditional, you could have a more bluey tone for a shadow. So I just encourage you to experiment and add in lots of colours and keep testing until you get the right colour for the skin tone that you are painting. And remember, even with whatever skin tone you're painting, there will be variances within the skin. Oftentimes you see bits of blues or greens or yellows in the skin, and particularly in paintings, because a lot of painters exaggerate this. So just don't be afraid of the colour and experiment.